Warning, spoilers ahead. None of the material about to be shared is owned by me. This video is made out of admiration and love for both the Karate Kid trilogy and the Netflix series Cobra Kai. Thank you. And
no mercy, bitches.
Hey, I'm Andrew, and I'm back again to give you my Cobra Kai review and feedback for Season 3, Episode 3, Now You're Gonna Pay. Right now we're getting to learn a little bit more about Robbie's story right now, which of course he's in juvie. So not the best place for him to be right now, because right away he's gonna get into some trouble with these thugs inside the juvie prison, and of course, he's gonna get beat down. There's not much you can do when it's 4-5 against 1, but it's just something I'm very curious, because I have no idea right now what's going to happen to Robbie. I mean, of course, they're pushing a lot towards him and Johnny's relationship, but as far as him getting out, I have no idea. So, also in episode 3, we're on the banned karate wagon still, and obviously this has affected Daniel and his wife's car dealership business, and she informs him, we got to cut out all the ads with the karate mentions and stuff like that. So, this scuffle and this fight these kids had in the school, has really affected everything going forward for Daniel, and a lot more than he ever thought was possible. And along with the news of his failing car dealership, we get yet another return amongst returns I didn't expect. And we had I think I had mentioned him as Uncle Louie, but he's Cousin Louie, obviously. It's Cousin Louie, which was my mistake. And with Cousin Louie's return, we also get Tom the Bobo Man's return, who of course is Daniel's rival in the car dealership world. And along with Tom, we get the return of Anush, who's left Daniel's dealership last season, amidst, not feeling respected and having to deal with all the BS around the Cobra Kai beef. So we get Anush back along with Tom. And that he's not the only return in this episode. We also get the return of the pawn shop man, who Johnny goes to once again, not knowing that it's his shop. But we get another visit from the pawn shop man for a nice little funny exchange between him and Johnny. And we also get the return of Sid, played by Ed Asner, and of course Johnny's stepdad, who it's almost weird. We're getting so many callbacks and so many visits from old characters that I didn't think that we would see again. And it's just one of these things that the producers and the writers like to do. They're always recycling people so you're not forgotten. So shout out again to Aisha. So we'll see you in season 4 hopefully. But to move on, aside from Boba Man and Sid making their triumphant returns, I guess, we also get we elaborate more between the relationship between Robbie and Johnny. And it's a relationship that is, constantly on the mends. It's when you think it's going good, it's not, and a roadblock hits, and then everything shatters apart. And right now, that's what's happening to Robbie. Robbie's going through so much right now. He's got Sam wishing Miguel best wishes and saying, we love you," and I can't help but feel for Robbie. He probably feels like he's all by himself, and when he gets the call that his dad's gonna come and visit him, that's that like one glimmer of hope, like that the one shining light that he sees, that maybe this is gonna lead me down a path that I'll be happy to take. And it broke my heart, because when Johnny goes to visit Miguel in the hospital, and I was happy to see him make amends with Carmen, Miguel's mom, because I didn't want to see that relationship tainted for long. So but he stayed with Miguel. And when you see Robbie sitting there, with Bobby, who again, Bobby made a return. We haven't seen Bobby since the Cobra Kai reunion episode where Tommy passed away. And Bobby's another great character to bring back to one of these guys that's going to try to help Johnny hunker down and bring him back to and center him. But his love for Miguel, it's outweighing his time with Robbie. And if you think about it, all the way to season one, this is what started the whole feud. This is what started Robbie's feud on wanting to get back at his dad, was seeing how buddy and father son he was more to Miguel than he was to him. And this is a theme that's being carried on into season three. And as much as they like to point at Sam, and Sam's the focal point of their hatred and their feud, the fact that Johnny loves Miguel so much, has got to be just digging away at Robbie down to his core, especially at this down and out moment that he's in juvie. And it's just something I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna handle it. It's just another aspect of this story that you just don't know where it's gonna land. And speaking about not knowing where we're landing, Daniel is in Japan. I was wondering, how are they going to switch the story over to Daniel going back to Okinawa? And we see it. We saw it through the return of Tom and him trying to buy the dealership off of him and his shady deals in Japan and cutting LaRusso supply off for the cars. And now we are in Tokyo, Japan. And not only that, we got a beautiful moment where Daniel remembers Mr. Miyagi. And those moments, I love those moments so much. Not only because they're a callback to the original film, but Karate Kid is not Karate Kid without Mr. Miyagi. And every time you get those moments of Mr. Miyagi spreading his wisdom and sharing his knowledge, it's still impactful today. And it was such a beautiful shot that they had transitioned out of, where Daniel is in the dealership looking at the bonsai tree, and he remembers what Mr. Miyagi said to him when they first met. When Mr. Miyagi was teaching him how to prune the bonsai tree and shape it in your vision, and the transition and the fade away from it's that's why I love this is one of the reasons why I love this show. The fan service, the love for these movies is what sparks the love and the greatness out of this series. And not only that, we also get a little bit more info for Daniel and how he even ended up being a car salesman. I always thought, it had to do with Miyagi and his car influence, but it was so much more, because that was still Miyagi parenting him and teaching him lessons, and the fact that he told him to follow a passion and that it will mean more than to make money is a principle that I love. I personally keep that to myself. That's a philosophy that I love to follow. It's not the easiest path to follow, but if you were to follow your passion, it means so much more. And for him to pass that on to Daniel, and then for that to be the reason why he blossoms and he becomes a successful person in that world, means so much more. And it's also touching to know, because if you follow the timeline of Miyagi's death and Daniel's life with his kids, there's some time frame where they lap over each other, and I don't think we've touched that yet, about how influential Miyagi was, not only to Daniel but to his kids, especially Sam. I don't know so much Anthony. I mean, we haven't even seen Anthony yet, and he was only sprinkled in so much in season 2. So, but that influence, that Miyagi legacy that Daniel carries means so much, and I cannot wait to see what happens in episode 4. I'm very excited to see the Okinawa transition, and that's something I'm sure every fan's been waiting for, and that's my favorite. Part 2 is my favorite of the Karate Kid trilogy. It's something that I watched endlessly on my VHS, so I cannot wait for those part 2 callbacks, and another killer episode for episode 3, and it's only getting better. It's only getting revved up little by little, and I can't wait. We're not even halfway done yet, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much.